Hey, I'm just getting us logged in for Real Talk with Gail on Facebook. We are going to live stream. So today we talk groups, why they work, why they don't, and what you are missing out on if you don't have them. Okay, we're going to post this not on our timeline. We're going to post this in a group, and the group right now is called Position to Position to Prosper still. Yeah, yep. Okay, go live. Good morning. Good morning. How are we doing? I'm so excited to be with you on Thursday morning. Yes, Real Talk with Gail. If you haven't been around for a little while, or you're new to the group, my name is Gail Root. I'm a Kingdom business coach for women of faith in the industry. I had been in the industry for a couple decades. I actually grew up in the industry, but as a wife and a mother, enjoyed many years in the industry, being able to balance or learn how to balance family and life and a successful business. And when God called me to retire from the industry, to be a Christian coach, I really thought I was leaving the industry, and there was a sadness. There was like a grief that came over me, and but God was like, "No, why would I have you leave the industry where I have equipped you? I want you to stay here." And this is a big part of what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about groups. I did a poll recently, and so many of you answered the poll questions. And what does that tell me? That tells me that this is something that's on your mind, something that you want to engage in conversation around. What makes groups work? What makes groups not work? Because sometimes that's the more important question. Because when we know what doesn't make a group work, we know what to avoid doing. And why, as a coach, is this an important conversation for me? Because one of the biggest things in my business has been finding my niche. What does that mean? Who has God called me to serve? Now, if you're out there and you're like, Gail, God's called me to serve anybody who can benefit from my products, I'm here to tell you, not true. Because God is a God of intimacy. He's a God of relationship. He's a God of details. And he's not a God of just throw it out there and anybody who's around will anybody who hears my message and wants to buy will buy. So the truth is, if you look at scripture, it tells us that when they heard their language being spoken, they leaned in. What does that mean for us in the world of Facebook? All right. So first thing we want to talk about is Facebook is just a tool. Do not give Facebook more power in your life than it's just like money. Money is a tool. If you associate a lot of fear and anxiety around money, it's becoming an idol. Same thing with Facebook. Don't associate a lot of fear and angst around Facebook. It is a tool that God has given us. We are the Esthers of this age for such a time as this. He's called you into your business. He's called you into such a time as this so that you can minister in the marketplace. You don't have to be overtly Christian in your brand to be ministering in the marketplace. You just have to be casting vision of hope and love and community and friendship and joy and prosperity with God in your business, with your company. And so if you're casting that vision, you are ministering in the marketplace. You're teaching, you're educating, you're loving on your people. So now let's get back to this conversation of, if you're going to have a group that is not specific, she is going to not feel valued, cared about, loved. Your group name needs to identify clearly. You want her, when she sees your group name, when she hears your group name, she says, that is for me. If your group name is cutesy and kind of whatever, fine, as long as it has a subtitle that very specifically calls her out. So for example, with a group, your group, let's say your skincare products, okay? And your passion is helping women over 50 to age beautifully, all right? And do so in an economical way and not have to go out to a med spa and do all the things that cost hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars, right? So that's your passion. Let's say that's your passion. So you have a group and you call it something fun like aging with grace. Beauty's over 50, all right? Well, that's pretty good, pretty specific. But then your tagline should say, saving you money as you reduce fine lines. You know, I know that's not exactly what you would want to say, but that's the idea. You want her to know exactly what your group is about, educating women over 50 on how to save money in the skin with beauty and skincare. Hello, a woman's going to be like, I want to be in that group. I'm over 50 and I want to save money on all the with skincare and beauty products and reducing fine lines and aging well. So if I join this group, she's going to be all about women over 50. How do I help? How do I educate women over 50 to save money and know how to do all the things for aging with grace and beauty, right? And then a lot of you have clean products. So you would throw in clean products. All right. So you want to be specific in your group. If your group is not specific, that's your first hurdle, because what happens is she has so much information coming at her. And if your group isn't specific, she's going to go right on by. Now, once she gets in the group, all right, she's attracted because she's like, ooh, that's me. I want that. Whatever your group title is, your group subtitle, she says, I want that. So when you're going in, when you're friending people or you're inviting people into your group, you always do it personally. Always do it personally. So you go into Messenger, hey, checking in on you. How have you been? You start a conversation first. All right. Once she engages in conversation, then you move over. Hey, I have a group and I'm rebranding. Some of you need to rebrand. We all need to rebrand our groups over time. So you go into Facebook and you say, hey, I'm rebranding my group. And it's going to be for bullet, 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 dash, dash, dash. Women over 50 who are looking for clean products, who want to save money on their skincare and beauty routines. Would you be interested in a link to my group? And every Thursday, I'm going to be doing a live training on breaking down the myths of the lie that you have to spend thousands of dollars to get benefits from skincare. Every Thursday, I'm going to be doing a live about that. Would you want to come into my group? Hello, I'm over 50. You asked me that question. You tell me that every Thursday you're going to be talking about showing me the lies that I have to spend thousands of dollars to have a younger appearance or whatever you tell me. I'm going to be like, yes, I want to be in that group. So first you have to know who God has called you to serve, because if you're trying to do a group and you're just throwing a bunch of people in there, I'm not saying that you can't have some success doing that. Some of you, I'll tell you who has success doing that, a little bit of success. Those who are type A, they are consistent. They show up in that group every single day. They post, they celebrate, they inspire, they love on their people. And those people can depend on them showing up. So when they know that that person's going to be active in the group because they show up. So that person is usually successful in their group, but only to a point. Because really what we want in a group, let's just get really real for a minute. You want your women to feel seen, known, valued, and heard. And I've been very guilty of this. If you're always just giving information, always just giving value, but you're not encouraging feedback. You're not asking for responses. You're not private messaging and checking in on people. They're going to go away. They want to be in community that is for them, and they feel valued and they feel loved in that community. And if you're providing that in your group, oh, they're going to stick around. All right. So you've got to know, one, who has God called you to serve? Your age range should be 10 years, 15 at the maximum. Why, Gail? Why can't I serve 20-year-olds and 50-year-olds and 70-year-olds at the same time? My products can help all of them. Because in marketing, you're working against just the laws of marketing. In marketing, she's only going to pay attention if she thinks you're talking to her. And if you're trying to speak to a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old at the same time about her skin, you've lost both of them, because you can't speak to a 20-year-old intimately and a 50-year-old intimately at the same time. They have completely different things going on. And I'm just using that as an example. It doesn't matter if your products are fashion related. It doesn't matter if your products are jewelry, clothing, wellness products. If you're talking to an over 50 crowd, you're going to be talking about menopause. You're going to be talking about the skin changing, getting thinner, aging, how they're being marketed to in the marketplace. Completely different conversation than you are when you're talking to 20-year-olds, even 30-year-olds, even 40-year-olds. Okay. So if you don't know who you're talking to, your posts are going to have to be pretty broad and generic. And so she's not going to feel like, oh, she's speaking my language. I want to pay attention. I want to lean in. I want to get into her group. As soon as you get really clear on who you're serving, your language is going to change. You're going to be speaking directly to her. And guess what? She's going to be like, oh, I got to get in that group. So it is the most important thing you can do, is really know who you've been called to serve. I serve women in the second half of life who have direct sales and network marketing businesses. Most of them have teams already, but they're struggling to grow, and they want to do so with kingdom values. So they are hungry to grow their business, but they will not compromise their lifestyle. They will not work harder. They want to work smarter. These are the women God has called me to serve. So when I'm speaking her language, she's like, I'm leaning in, I'm paying attention here. But if I was trying to serve all women in network marketing, how would I do that? How would I create a place, a community where she felt heard and listened and valued? So I hope you're catching this, because that is crucial. You will love your group because she will love your group. As soon as you niche and know specifically who you've been called to serve, and then your group name calls her out. As soon as she reads that group name, and again, it can be a subtitle. You can have a fun little cute name for your main title, but your subtitle should be very specific about what you're doing and who you're doing it for. And when you see women doing this well, now, don't be looking at somebody who's been around for 10 years and they've got this huge following, because don't compare apples to oranges and be looking over like, I'm over here on the orange tree wishing I had apples on my tree, right? We just heard that yesterday from a coach. So stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. If your group needs to be rebranded, rebrand it. Now is the time. Do not wait. Those of you who, a number of you answered, well, first I want to say that 75% of you said you have a team or you want a team. So what I'm hearing from you is you understand the power of building community. Whether that is a team of customers, that's a team of actually team members who are working their business, you want a team. That means you're building community. How do you have a team? You build community. And if you're building community, you're building community for in the group for women that you are called to serve. Only 6% of you in the polls said, I've got a group and I finally figured out what is working, and I'm going to keep doing that so I can grow my group. So what that tells me is so many of you are hungry for, why is my group not working? Or how do I get a group to work? So what do we say number one was? You got to know who you're called to serve. What do we say number two is? Your group name has got to call her out, that person that you've been called to serve. Now, number 3, you've got to be showing up. Yes, you know what I'm going to say, consistently. You've got to be giving value consistently. All right. So good morning, Dottie. And good morning, Kathy, across the pond. If you're wondering if your group isn't specific enough, it probably is not. How do you know if your group is specific enough? You know what, because when she sees the name, she says, that's me. I want in. And if she can't figure that out from your title or subtitle, then you're not specific enough. I'm telling you, you do have to fight for the words to get specific. But once you do, you're going to watch women start coming into your group, and you're going to be inviting them into your group, and you're going to be very specific about what your group offers. Now, every group, once you have your people, once you have your title, now, what do you do to keep the group going? Well, the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to have a scheduled agenda where you're going to post. I strongly encourage you when you're getting started that make Mondays Motivation Monday. You don't have to call it that. I'm just saying, in your calendar that's on your desk, you know that you're either going to schedule that post ahead of time, or on Mondays, you're going to post something motivational. Tuesdays, you're going to post Tuesday testimonial. It's a testimonial about your product, your business, your team, your group. It's a testimonial about you and what the Lord's doing in your life. Don't get hung up on what it is. It's just a testimonial. All right. Trust God's going to give you the content, because he does. Wednesday is What You Got Wednesday. This is where you want to invite women to share based on what it is. So let's say that you've got a group for skincare, and let's say they found a hack for, you can ask the question on Wednesday, hey, what is your makeup routine? How long does it take you to put your makeup on? And what's your makeup routine? Share your best tips with us today, right? Women love to share. So that's Wednesday, What You Got Wednesday. Now, my What You Got Wednesday is going to be a little different than yours, right? But the idea is you're inviting them. You're telling them you value their opinion. You value what they have to say. This is a place where you can be seen and heard. And guess what makes them want to post? Because they know please listen to this. If you don't hear anything else, they know they are in a like-minded place. They know the place is filled with like-minded women. So if you haven't niched and people are kind of all over the place in your group, are they going to feel comfortable to share and post? No. But once they know, oh, this group is filled with people just like me, they're going to be wanting to post. They're going to feel safe to post. They're going to feel encouraged to post. Does this make sense? Yes. So you've got your people figured out. You've got your title figured out. And now you're showing up consistently. Now you've got to give value. Once a week, I encourage you. One of my coaches back in the day, she called it your core content vehicle. I don't know why she called it. I'm sure a coach that she had called it that. But all it means is it's this. It's what I'm doing right now. Every Thursday, I come in and give I believe, a high value training from all of my experience. So you would be doing this. Let's go back to the skincare example. You would be coming in and giving a 15-20 minute high value training on skincare. You pick a topic. All right. You could pick eczema. You could pick rosacea. You could pick fine lines. You could pick eyelids. You could pick contouring. You could pick eyebrows. You could pick lips. You could pick Dottie eyelashes. Whatever it is, you are bringing in a high value training once a week. She becomes hungry for that. She becomes expectant. She knows it's consistent, so she can trust you. Trust you. Building trust is essential. This is what foundationally, when she sees you being specific, showing up consistently, bringing value, do you think she's more likely to want to purchase a product from you, get on a one-on-one call with you? Yes. So then your next step is watching who is engaging, watching who is showing up and engaging with them. It's kind of like God is saying, here they are. Here are the people who are connecting with you. And then you can test. You're tracking, right? Because we are to steward well what God has given us. He's given us Facebook. He's given us now this Facebook group. He's given us these women to to love on and serve. So how am I stewarding? I want to now see, now I'm watching who is showing up in my group, who's commenting, who's posting, who's going live. These are your people. These are the women who are resonating with what you're doing. So I check, are they my people? Are they who I think I'm called to serve? Some of you might find out, like I talked to some of my clients and they're like, man, I thought I was serving X demographic. But what I've just looked at for the past 2 months, the women who are showing up in my group, they're a completely different demographic than I thought I was serving. All right, well, what does that mean? That means is your content is resonating with a different demographic. So either you have two choices there. You either need to start changing your content to get back to the demographic you thought you were supposed to be serving, if you really feel God wants you to serve them, or is God trying to show me that he wants me to serve a different demographic here? Because these are the women who are resonating with what I am putting out. So we're going to do a quick recap. And we could talk about groups. I could do training on groups for 6 weeks. All right. And there's just so much, but I'm trying to give you the big highlights to give you a big win today. Some of you need to rebrand. Some of you need to recommit to a group. Here's the deal. Creating a group is making you more visible. And for some of you, there is a fear around that. And the biggest fear is you don't want to fail. Nobody wants to start a group that doesn't have anybody in it. We all want to start a group with 1,000 members, right? Can I get an amen? I know, I've been there. But here's the deal. If God is calling you to this business and he wants you to be visible so that you can actually be seen by the women that he wants you to serve, you got to show up. If you're finding success showing up solely on your timeline without a group, fine, do that. If you're finding success only showing up in your team's group, customer group, then show up there. But if this is stirring with you and God is calling you to step into being visible by creating your own group, I don't care if you just have 10 women in there to start, 50 women in there to start. By start, I mean in the next few months. You're going to serve them well. You're going to learn a lot. And then you're going to find out how you bring more women in. But you can't find out how to bring more women in if you don't have a place for them to come into. And you need to know who they are. So I'm going to look at the comments again. How are we doing, Dottie? Yes. Kim, what's the best way to relaunch in your group? I haven't been serving as I needed to be. Thank you. I love this question. And by the way, Kim, I love your daughter. Love your daughter. I met with her this morning. Oh my gosh, such a gift, such a gift. Okay. All right. Kim just asked, I need to rebrand my group. I haven't been as consistent as I wanted to be. What do I do, Gail? All right. Love this question because I know many of you fall into this category. All right. And rebranding brings new eyes. It brings new energy to your group. So I really encourage you to do it. What does it look like? It looks like coming up with a new title, coming up with a new subtitle, and announcing it, having a little marketing campaign. Don't just throw it out there and not tell your group about it. All right. So it looks like something like this. It looks like, hey guys, I've got some going live. I've got some really exciting news. I have not been consistent in here, but I have my heart is bursting with excitement about what's about to happen in this group. So please pay attention. On next Thursday, I'm going to be giving you all the details. But up until then, here's what you want to know. There's going to be more value coming into this group. I'm going to be showing up more consistently, and you're going to have a place where you feel loved and seen and heard. All right. And then from there, so you do your kind of announcement post. You don't have to tell them a lot of details because quite honestly, you may not have a lot of details when you do it, but you're committing to it. And what does Zechariah 4:10 tell us? The Lord does not despise small beginnings. As a matter of fact, he delights in our step of faith. So when you take that step and say, I'm doing this, I'm rebranding, Lord, and I'm trusting you to bring me the content, bring me the ideas. So you put yourself out there. All right. That's step number one. Step number two is you dig into who am I called to serve? Who am I called? Who is this group for? Who is my heart bursting to serve? And specifically now, it does not mean that you're going to exclude anyone. So if you're gonna, like, for example, I have women over 50 that I serve. If I have someone who's not over 50, I'm, excuse me, you can't be in my group. No, she's welcome here. As a matter of fact, I don't know about you, but my mother always had older friends. And I find myself attracted to older friends. I find them, they have wisdom, and I just find comfort in them. I don't know what that's about. So there are women in my group who feel the same way. They want to be around you if you're over 50, you're in the second half of life. Maybe they've got a lot of angst about becoming an empty nester or what that's going to look like, or they just find comfort in those mother of faith women, and they want those mothers of faith in their life, in their business. So they're here. Am I kicking them out because they're not over 50? No, God's going to bring who he's supposed to bring, but you need to be specific. So you figure out who she is, you rebrand your Facebook graphic. It's a new name, new fonts, and it calls out who you are serving. It calls her out who you're serving. Then you do a little launch. You start asking a bunch of questions, doing a bunch of polls, because what you want is the women who are in the group who haven't been active, you're trying to pull them out. So daily you need to be posting. Some people would say multiple times a day. You have to make a decision based on the bandwidth in your life, what you're going to commit to. But you're going to say, I'm posting 2 times a day until my launch, or I'm going live every day. I would recommend that. Every day until my launch, and then you can keep it going. But I'm going to be asking a question of the day. My question today, and of course it's going to be connected. It doesn't have to be directly connected, but it's going to be connected to what you do and who you serve. And it's going to be asking her a question. So for example, Kim, damsel in defense, how many of you get afraid in a parking lot at night? Start a conversation. How many of you have ever been afraid walking through a parking lot at night? And what happened? How many of you ever have a nightmare that someone's coming after you and you're trying to scream and nothing's coming out of your mouth? So Kim, do you see what I'm saying? These are the kind of questions based on your products and what you do, because Kim's with Damsel in Defense. And so pull out women's conversation. How many of you think that just because you're over a certain age, all right, let's say Kim's demographic is over 50. How many of you think that because you're over a certain age, you don't need to carry mace anymore? And then you give a statistic. So you ask the question, you get the answers, and then you say, well, I want to share with all of you on my question yesterday. You know, the truth is that based on statistics, women over 50 are, I'm making this up, are more likely to be targeted because they are, the perpetrator sees them as less likely to fight back. I'm making that up. Kim, is that true? It might be true. I don't know. But the point is, you're starting this engagement with your demographic and you're building up to your launch. Then when you get to your launch, it's like, boom, here is my new graphic. Isn't it beautiful, you guys? Do you love it? The other thing that you could have been doing on the build up to the rebranding is sending them a Google form, going into Messenger, reaching out to every single woman in your group personally and saying, hi, I'm going to be rebranding my group and I'm so excited about it. But in the process for my preparation of that, I would love to send you a Google form. It's 5 short questions. It won't take you 30 seconds to complete it, but it's going to help me serve the women in my group better. Would you be willing to fill that out? And if she says yes, you drop the Google form in there, and then you're going to be getting lots of information. You can be asking her, what topics would you most want me to talk about in the group? What myths would you most want me to bust? What statistic would you most want to hear about? Do you have college-age daughters? Do you have senior mothers who are independent but need to be safe? So I hope this was helpful. I know that as we wrap up, what I feel the Holy Spirit wanting me to share with you is, this is joy. Building a group, a community, a place where like-minded women come together and are loved on, served, seen, valued, heard, there is nothing like it. When your people say to you, I have been looking for you, or when they say to you, you just took the words right out of my head. How did you know? Are you reading my journal? This is what you happens when you know who you're called to serve, and you create a space, a community for her, and you show up consistently bringing value and letting her be seen and heard. This is what this is all about. From that, you're building relationships. When it comes time to ask if they're interested in knowing about your products, or if it comes time to ask if they want to know about joining your team or your community or your company's mission, do you know how much more receptive they are? Yes, yes, yes. So we're building that relationship. We're building that community where those relationships can be formed. All right, guys, I hope you have a beautiful day. I would love your feedback. Those of you who are watching the replay, hit hashtag replay and let me know what is resonating with you. And those of you who have not ever had a clarity call with me, it's free. It is a free thing I offer to every woman in this group. And you're like, Gail, I need to get clarity on who I've been called to serve. All right, say yes, I want a link to your clarity call, and I will send you a link so you can book a clarity call. All right. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll be seeing you soon. All right, for those of you who are watching the replay, I hope this was a great blessing to you, and I would love to hear from you, whether that's in the app, if you're watching this in the app, or if you're watching it in the Facebook group. You probably saw the live, but I just want you to know that it is my passion to serve women in the industry and to help them get results from a kingdom perspective, because God has plans for you here. And if God is doing this with you, of course you're going to succeed.